I think I'm live. Yep. Okay. Hey guys, the one is always first. I just picked up Lucky. Just picked him up. There's two containers. I don't know why there's two containers, but I'm not going to open them now. I hope he's in heaven. All right. Ham's coming on at Ham is coming on at noon, and I thought I'd get started. Yeah, David, I think it'll be good memories. The woman was nice. She said he's in heaven, and I said I hope all dogs go to heaven. Can't imagine they wouldn't. Can't imagine dogs wouldn't go to heaven. I hope I'm not getting a cold all of a sudden. So I thought I would read you an article on gold because I think gold and silver, and probably, as John would tell you, platinum, are the things to buy right now. There's a negative in buying when it's in the news everywhere. But this time, I do think it's different. I think the main difference this time is that finally big money is buying gold and silver. What you've had for a long, long time is Asian countries, Southeast Asia, maybe Russia, maybe other parts of the world, people buy gold. India is another area, which sometimes people call that Asia as well. It's the subcontinent. But anyway, people put wealth in gold and silver. In the dollar-dominated parts of the globe, everyone has bought into the Keynesian idea that I think he was misquoted, but they always quote him as saying that gold is just a relic. And I think that was taken out of context if you look at his full quote. But the intent was that with economics and what then was modern monetary theory, now there's a whole new branch of modern monetary theory led by a woman, I forget her name, which is just basically print money. Which is what, and Dick Cheney also was quoted as saying deficits no longer matter. There's the genius family, the Cheneys. Can you imagine USAID giving money to Liz Cheney and to Chelsea, $84 million to Chelsea Clinton? So anyway, wealth in North America, Europe, Middle East, anybody under the sway of the Fed hasn't been gold or silver. And I don't have the statistics. I've read them to you before. I've compared the gold market to Microsoft, and the silver market's even less than that, smaller than that. But the theory, the thought is, all you need is one guy, one woman, you know, that Michelle Shanahan, billionaire woman who married well. It's one thing women, it's one power women still have. If they're pleasant, they can marry well. I like her. I like Michelle Shanahan. But if someone like that were to say, you know what, I want half my money in precious metals, you could light the fuse. Well, what I see going on, I think Arabs are, and I say that politely, but what I mean is wealthy people out of the Middle East are starting to buy gold and silver. Silver is still suppressed, but at some point, the paper cowboys are not going to be able to deliver. I have no idea what that was. That scared me. I have no idea. So anyway, what's going on in, I think, particularly in London, is that I think we're on the verge of a failure to deliver physical silver primarily. And if that happens, you're going to see a panic buying of silver. It'll be bigger front page news. Everybody will be talking about it more than Bitcoin. You know, even that chick on CNN that does the financial news, but anyway, February 9th, Matthew Peipenberg of the Von Greyer's Gold Company, which you can find just simply by Googling his name, or I'm sure you can find it by going to Gold Switzerland. His minimums are so high that it's unlikely that any of you can invest with Egon Von Greyer's. But I followed him for, gosh, it was like 20 years now. And to me, he's one of the ones you can trust. He's sober in his thinking. He's not greedy. And he's had a strategy and almost a campaign for a couple of decades. Anyway, so Matthew Peipenberg writes in an article dated February 9th, 2025, COMEX flows. Is the gold case almost too obvious? And that brings up a little bit of what I was saying at the beginning of this. When everybody's rushing into a trade, my instinct always is, wait, who's the sucker here? But I don't think that's what's happening yet. Okay, for years, we, Von Breyer, Matthew Peipenberg, we have been warning of gold's critical role as a buffer against increasingly obvious currency risk, banking risk, geopolitical risk, and market risk. And for years, we've been warning about
about the precious metal price fix in the COMEX. These cowboys who come from all stripes of human beings and all cultures and all religions, it's not just one religion. So let me get that straight. I've been corrected. These are just criminals of all manner of people. They fix and manipulate everything. The over-the-counter markets, Adina over at NASDAQ doesn't care. Cook over at FINRA doesn't care. They do it to the bond markets and they do it to the precious metal markets. If they could do it to your firstborn son, they would do it. They don't care. Everything is something to trade and bet on. It's terrible, and it's in the context of a government that's so morally corrupt that a woman who happened to marry Bill Clinton and had a child, they say, from Webb Hubble, the child gets $84 million from USAID. For what? And she marries a guy who happens to be probably not a criminal. Okay, so the hidden risks of holding physical gold in a commercial bank, we've talked about, and the now irrevocable de-dollarization trend as investors move away from a indebted United States Treasury and a diplomatically and sanctioned, weaponized greenback. Thank you, Samantha Power, who gives out all the money. Thank you, Hillary Clinton. Thank you. Victoria Nuland. Thank you, Anthony Lincoln. Thank you, Joe Biden. I'm not convinced that we're done with the worldwide dollar quite yet, but let's go on with this case. With each passing day, these risks and forces are rising, so much so that the case for gold has become almost too obvious. And that, he doesn't mean it that way, but I do warn you, when cases become obvious, it's a good time to step back, because the cowboys are about to sucker punch the rest of us. Let's dig deeper. The real COMEX news. Since November, after the Trump victory, almost 400 metric tons of physical gold has left London for the New York COMEX warehouses. I believe the entirety of the Bank of England's gold holdings for the Queen are around 400 metric tons. It's a lot of gold. The United States reportedly has 8,000 metric tons, which we believe the United States. Why shouldn't we? We're always truthful, and our press is truthful. The AID gave money to the New York Times. I'm sure the New York Times is incorruptible. I watched the movie The Insider last night. Back when CBS and New York Times were journalists, not anymore. So 400 metric tons of physical gold has left London for the New York COMEX warehouses. This has resulted in, believe it or not, a 75% increase of the COMEX gold stockpile, which he has found at 29.8 million ounces, or 926 tons, metric tons. So it's essentially doubled how much gold is held in New York by COMEX. So there's 29.8 million ounces. Imagine if you got just 29 ounces or just 30 ounces of your own. I'm telling you, 30 ounces could be worth $30,000 almost overnight. And you don't have to rely on a CEO. You don't have to rely on the board rejecting these glib-talking criminals who are of all stripes, all cultures, all religions. I'm completely wrong in my observation. These are criminals that come by way of their criminality down different paths, and it's just by accident that they're there. But you don't have to rely on a CEO avoiding the charms of Lynn Partners, the charms of Yorkville, the charms of Geneva Roth Holdings. Silver, there is no CEO. It's as good as any squeeze as you can buy anywhere. So why is this big increase on COMEX happening? As always, the lamestream media can be counted on to give the wrong, but also they give eloquent answers to an otherwise obvious currency breakdown and a gold directional move hiding in plain sight. These guys write, they're good at talking, but they're not as good at writing, and I know I'm the same, I'm sure. The headlines partly ascribe the massive gold flow to fears of future tariffs on gold imports. That's not it. They point as well to the potential arbitrage play between the UK gold spot price and the New York-based futures price. That's possible, but arbitrage doesn't last very long in a modern electronic world. London is known for making the physical gold spot price. New York is known for the futures contract. So let's break that down. London is known for making physical gold spot prices. New York for futures contracts, the COMEX. My understanding, and I promised to research it and I haven't, but you guys can correct me, John can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe if you own a call on gold or silver in London, a future, and you stand for delivery, you say, I want the physical. In London, they must deliver the physical. They must, or in the majority of times. In New York or Chicago, on the COMEX, I believe if you do the same thing, they have an escape clause. If they don't have the silver, they don't have the gold, they can give you cash. So I think the panic is going to start in London. We'll find out. It really is a matter of no import, whether it's New York, London, or somewhere else. Our view, footnoted by years of tracking, warning, and describing the real smoke behind the COMEX fire, is a bit more blunt, a bit more foreseeable, and, well, a bit more tragic. And we'll keep going. Understanding legalized price fixing. Legalized price fixing. As we wrote in 2021, the post-Basel III banks were going to need more allocated / physical gold to comply with the Basel regulations. This presented a clear and present danger to the ongoing and legalized price fixing of COMEX gold by a handful of bullion fast. I don't know, they say TBTF banks. I don't know what TBTF banks are. I don't know what that is. Anyway, by a handful of bullion banks. These banks maintained a permanent leverage short on the gold price. Leverage short. Leverage. A lever, I think it's our committee pointed out that you could move the earth if you had a big enough lever. Leverage short on the gold price via daily and massively levered, which is not a word, massively levered short contracts against gold. These contracts were typically backed by 4% actual gold, 4%, and 96% paper leverage. And then he links to previous reports, which I'll go over with you in the future. For decades, the COMEX could play this short game because gold on the COMEX stayed on the COMEX. Girls in Las Vegas stay in Las Vegas. For decades, the COMEX could play the short game because gold on the COMEX stayed on the COMEX, as nearly every futures contract was simply rolled over. This was an institutionally accepted game of extend and pretend. It's just breaking the law rather than standing for physical delivery. That's the COMEX. In short, the physical gold, which was the collateral for what has become a permanent short, never left the building, but just stuck around for the omnipresent 8:30 a.m. price fix, which was coordinated by a bunch of criminals. So are we at the COMEX uh-oh moment? Let's see what he says. But now the game has changed. Players on the COMEX no longer are rolling over their contracts, but are asking for physical delivery of gold. This is called open interest, and it's up 750%. That's a poorly written sentence. So anyway, the open interest on the futures that normally rolls over, instead of rolling over, they're calling, they're to the gold. Let me finish this. It looks like hand call, so I'll call him back afterwards. He told me he wanted to go on his Zoom. I think this is my time to talk to you. But why are traders, countries, and central banks suddenly seeking physical gold delivery? We saw De Gaulle do it in 1971. We saw the Germans do it in 2016. India and China have been doing it sub rosa as well. In fact, we have been warning of this question for years. And the answer is simple. In times of crisis, those who stand mute, in times of moral crisis, what's John Kennedy saying? The hottest place in hell is reserved for those who, in times of moral crisis, stand mute. In times of crisis, the world trusts physical gold far more than paper money, digital coins, or United States IOUs. Global actors, including the Bank of International Settlement, are openly preferring real gold as a strategic reserve asset over United States Treasuries for all the obvious reasons. Who wants yesterday's paper? Who wants yesterday's girl? Nobody. Nobody in the world. Who wants an IOU from an over-indebted issuer who is prone to weaponizing that very asset? Gold in the near term. What does this mean for gold in the near term? Well, the COMEX was certainly worrying if it had enough physical gold on tap to continue its permanent short on the precious metal. Less artificial, but legal gold shorting via futures contracts on the COMEX means a rising / fair gold price. But now the COMEX has reloaded its stockpile of gold. So will the price fixing continue? That all depends on how much of this new stockpile will be a stockpile rather than a revolving door for delivery to counterparties who now want their gold in real rather than paper form within their own control rather than sitting in a COMEX warehouse. Longer term gold. Ultimately, global gold demand is rising and global gold supply is tightening, all of which is extremely good for the price of gold. Of course, all of these moving parts, figures boil down to a simple bottom line that no one in the halls of any government, bank, or financial mainstream media outlet wants to say out loud. There is no way out of this enormous debt trap. The global financial system is broken. The debt-soaked United States at 125% debt to GDP, like so many other nations, is mathematically too broke to grow. Uncle Sam caught in this debt trap has only three bad options. One, default on the debt. Two, discover a productivity miracle. Or three, inflate. Option one won't happen with a money printer in the corner. That's the one default. They won't default as long as they can keep printing. Two can't happen once the debt to GDP crosses 100%. The velocity of money, the productivity of additional debt, the marginal benefit of borrowing goes way down, according to economists. And option three just becomes a matter of time. Option three is inflation. The Fed, like the Treasury Department, knows perfectly well that at some point the United States currency will have to be sacrificed to monetize its broken, unloved, and increasingly weaponized and distrusted bond market. As we have shown historically, this is what governments have always done once their back is against an unsustainable debt wall. And this is why gold is always the go-to asset in a financial crisis. This means get ready to quantitative easing to the moon, a global reset of the dollar, of the financial system, or a gold revaluation, any and all of which are quite good for gold. Today, this debt crisis is global and it's unprecedented. As such, demand for physical gold, as evidenced by the BRICS and all this maneuvering on the COMEX, clearly demonstrated by COMEX inflows and outflows, is equally global and unprecedented. Demand for physical gold is equally global and unprecedented. In a world racing toward 400 trillion, I'm not saying how much money is invested, 400 trillion in entirely abstract global debt, which is 2/3 higher than global GDP, there is less interest in, but greater distrust of sovereign debt instruments and debased fiat money within a fractured banking and financial system. The open cracks, which we've been warning about for years, glare. An increasing fractured world, in short, would rather save in gold and spend in fiat because gold holds its value better than paper money or debt. Could it be Jamie Dimon that JP Morgan is taking advantage of government printing to increase fees on asset under management? Perhaps by counterfeiting. Who knows who's in on it? But then JP Morgan reportedly has built an enormous physical position in silver. Although this should be obvious to everyone, almost no one understands gold. Gold accounts for less than 0.5% of global financial allocation. But as we have warned for years, the broken centralized DC-based system, which controls your money and the media, doesn't want you to understand this, as rising gold prices are proof of a declining nation, a declining currency system, and a declining safe banking narrative. Again, this should be obvious. When measured against a milligram of gold, all fiat money has lost greater than 99% of its purchasing power since Richard Nixon, 1971. A 400-ounce gold bar sold for $17,000 in 1971. Today, that same 400-ounce bar of gold sells for $1.14 million. Do you see why the world's traders, central bankers, mega institutions, and nations are increasingly seeking physical, allocated gold outside the banking and COMEX system to be held exclusively, physically, and in fully segregated accounts? This is a practice and service we've been engaged in for decades. Gold is just an outdated analog pet rock poised to fall before all things modern, digital, and tech evolutionary. Do you still think that Bitcoin, with its triple-digit standard deviation and 4 maximum drawdowns of 80% since 2009, is a better store of value than gold, which has been money since 480 years before Christ? Do you still think cryptocurrencies are a truly maverick, decentralized, and apolitical anti-fiat magical being, when the very BTC tether trade is literally a centralized, politicized, and highly programmable, trackable CBDC wolf in sheep's clothing? Such questions are for each of you to determine individually. But the recent and increasingly COMEX gyrations, BTC decentralizations, and BRICS plus protestations would suggest with obvious objective evidence rather than, quote, gold bug drama, that the world is stacking physical gold outside the banking system for a reason. Gold is more honest than paper, fights, and politicians. We and our clients from over 90 countries have known this for decades. All right, it's 11:30. Let me see. Let me see if my speaker is on. Not seeming to work. Let's see. Should be working. Might not work.
So this might not. All right, I'm going to turn my phone off and on. All right, so audio is terrible. Audio is terrible. All right, that's not good to hear. Let me see what I can do about my audio. Audio, testing. Should be working. I don't know if I can get him on this, so I might have to use this other speaker. Let's see. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about before noon is yeah, something's wrong. It's not connecting. Verizon is there. Mike is here. Make sure sound link is turned on and in range. It's turned on. Hello. I hate this. Hello. All right, there it goes. I don't know. We'll just play it by ear. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to point out to you is Railtown AI closed at I think 42 cents. Let me look. Darn it. I'm getting the wrong symbol. Yeah, it closed at 42.65. It was up, I don't know. It says here 12%. I don't know that you should chase it, but if you don't own Railtown, maybe buy a little bit. I can't give you financial advice, of course. If you can in the morning, Monday, tomorrow, it looks like it's broken out and it looks like it's headed much higher. Obviously, now that it's broken out, it's going to be more volatile. So maybe, at least take a position. If it pulls back, add to your position, or just be in the audience, just watch it. There's always other stories to play. But I think Railtown, my opinion is Railtown could give you, if it really takes off and it's all about a revaluation of the company because of a successful product launch, to me, anything that makes it worth $1 could make it worth dollars a share. So we'll see what's happening. The way it traded on Friday, the volume was, I can't see what the volume was. I'm going to use OTC markets instead of Yahoo. Yeah, the volume was 1,081,000. And the market cap now is basically 60 million. So how high could Railtown go? Could it go to 6 billion? That would be 10 times here. I think that might be a little high, but it could, I guess. Hello?
You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. You're gonna.
We're going live at 12, right?
Well, you can go live now if you want, but we're going to have to do it from this speaker, which is fine. But we can go at 12.
Yeah, I'm just running to the store, so give me like 10 minutes. I'll give you a call back. All right.
All right.
All right. Goodbye.
And that's what it's going to have to be. I can't figure out what's wrong. I just can't figure out what's wrong. That's the symbol right there, Jason. RLAIF, Railtown. But of course, everybody, even me, I don't have the money, but you want to buy it while it's going up. It's not always the best time, but in this case, I think it is. I think something's happening. I wish I could show you the chart, but you can look at the chart of Railtown. It has broken out. It is above 40 cents, and it's on volume. Of course, 1 million shares is less than $500,000. If, I guess a real breakout would be a 10 million share day. Anyway, going back to my thought, could it go to 6 billion in market cap? I suppose. I don't have any, I don't really have any indication that whatever news or contracts or sales they may do could make it worth that much. But I suppose it's possible. If you have a new AI technology which allows your model of AI to go into a legacy company's software, locate and isolate the issue from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and then fix it and then improve the software, all for a fraction of the cost, a fraction of the manpower, and a fraction of the time. And you're the leading product in a global marketplace, which they put, you just go to their website. I can't remember the exact numbers, but they have the market that they're addressing growing to well over $100 billion. And what I remember is $130 billion over the next 5 years. If they get half of that, if they get a quarter of that, let's call it $25 billion in revenue, what kind of multiple do you give a $20 billion revenue company in the AI space? I don't know. 1 for 1, that's $20 billion. So yeah, I guess Railtown, if there's good enough news, could go to $6 billion. In other words, what I'm asking you is, could the stock break out from 60 cents, which is its all-time high, and go up 10x? Yeah, that's $6. Or I'm asking you, could it break out from 60 million market cap today and go to 600 million first? I guess 60 million today, 600 million is 10x. But could it go to 6 billion? Could it go, I guess that would be 100x. I don't know. But those are the ranges that I think is possible in a revaluation of Railtown. I know it sounds like I'm smoking pot, but I'm not a druggie. I think I'm being rational. Oh, you heard Ham. Okay, good. I've never been to a Super Bowl. No, I don't think I've ever been to a World Series. I might have been up in Baltimore when it was Eddie Murray. Eddie. All right, Ham's calling in after he goes shopping. Fix your mic. Fix this, pal. I'm just kidding. I tweeted Ham. Yeah, I know, David. It's better to listen to Ham than listen to me. I know that. I don't want to open this. I'm not going to open it. Lucky boy. I miss him. I miss him. Mark Ryder, how many of these marathon finger videos have we heard? I dumped finger last year and added to XRP when it was 49 cents. Stock market is fraudulent and manipulated. Get XRP. Well, that's a good trade. You got in at 49 cents. I assume you sold it at when it went up to 5 or whatever, or you held on and it pulled back. So you're not a genius. You got lucky, and that's good. It's a good call that you bought it at 49 cents. I don't know how many finger videos you've listened to in the last 1.5 years. I don't think they've been particularly marathon. You can listen if you want to or not listen. I try to talk about many things other than just finger motion. But congratulations on you, Mark Ryder, for selling finger at some price, maybe making a profit, and maybe you sold real shares, I don't know. But you bought XRP, good for you. You're a genius. I think you should start a YouTube, start talking about XRP. It's obviously the place to be. And now that I know that Mark Ryder bought XRP at 49 cents, I'm going to be pouring all of my financial assets in to try to catch the trade that Mark Ryder caught at 49 cents. Yeah, my eyes adored you. My eyes aren't perfect, and my distance is getting better. Up close, I guess this eye uses up close. This eye doesn't see anything up close. So yeah, I probably didn't see whatever your question was. My mic was muffled. So let me see if it still is. Lordy. Lordy, lordy, lordy. Is it working? Yes, it looks like it's working. So, does anyone have an educated guess as to what will happen to GTII dividends already issued? Well, they're in your account. They're supposed to be tradable, but they're probably counterfeit, sold by the criminals. My guess is they're going to be worth a penny, 5 cents, 10 cents. All right, let's go down. Mic is fine. Woof, woof. Woof, woof. I saw a dog today. I didn't realize that I was picking up lucky. I didn't know I was going to do that. I was just checking in to see the status. And this big Irish wire-haired hound dog came up to me and jumped up. He was a good boy. Do I trust private mints? Yeah, I do. But you should know there was a company called, David, there's a company I bought silver from, and right now I cannot remember it. It was, I think they had a mint, but it was a silver exchange. And the guy was harried maybe, but he was an honest guy, but he went broke. So if you're establishing positions now in silver, I think I would use APMEX, APMEX. I'd use gold, silver with Mike Mahoney. And I like Silver Doctors. I like them. They're good too. But yeah, I trust them. I do trust them. It looks like Miles Franklin is an honest firm too. Andy Schlechtman. I like listening to him. He's pretty sharp, but he's been in the business a long time. I've never used Miles Franklin, but I think they're probably a good firm as well. Certainly, Andy Schlechtman is worth following. COMEX is probably the biggest, and I can't imagine that you can't find a good deal there. But I do like your question in one regard, is if you're starting out, just buy the ounces, don't pay premiums. Buy whatever has the cheapest premium if possible, but premiums are going to go sky high. You're going to start paying $10, $20 a coin in premiums. I don't think that's going to be tomorrow, but it's going to happen when silver becomes unobtainable. All right, let's see if Ham. All right, I think this speaker will work.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, let me just make sure. Let me just check that the speaker is working. Testing. Yeah, it is. I guess it should work fine. So go ahead.
I'm in the car. I had to run errands. I'm going to a Super Bowl party. Nothing crazy, but I'm in the car, so bear with it. Let's start off by, let me just start off by talking about GTII for those who haven't been following the saga, what's going on. John Forrester, I believe his name is. I met him. He was an old golf pro. He has friends, very smart people, and they're looking to merge into GTII. Some people like the deal, don't like the deal. All I know is his background, his friends are from Google. They built the platform, and they want to do the right thing, and they want to help squeeze the stock. I don't know anybody who's against that. The company will be structured where no one will be diluted. Everything is great. So I hope he gets it through. If the trustee and everybody votes on it, whatever they have to do, I think it's a great deal. If you got something better, call Richard Hoffman up and give it to him, because I don't have any other ideas, and I don't have the energy to bring to it. So there is a deal here. I think the guy would be good for it, and I think he's going to have a good company. But that's my opinion on it. Everyone has their own opinion on it. I have plenty of people in the stock, and believe me, I think we need a shot to make it work. We know the short is here. The SBC told us, and it's being cleaned up, so it's all good for us. And we don't get diluted, or we won't get hurt. So it's a good opportunity with a good guy, good CEO, a good company, and you know what? Give him a chance, and I think it'll work. Anything to say on that, William?
Well, somebody was asking, what do you think will happen to the dividends if this deal goes through and the stock starts trading again on GTII?
I think that everything that's in place will create a nightmare for the prime brokers that are short this stock, the SEC. Everyone will be. It creates a headache. So I just think that I think it's all good.
Kirk is asking you, John Foster mentioned a 2-for-1 reverse split. Is that okay with you? Do you?
He's not going to do it. So he's not doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
I actually told him, let it go. Let's see what happens. Squeeze the short. Everything's coming to a head on the short selling side anyway. So, he walks into it. It's trading. I think it's perfect timing.
Yeah.
And a year from now, if he wants to reverse it and we got our chance to make it work, he can, God bless him, let him do what he has to do. We can't do this forever.
Right.
So I think we'll get an opportunity. I think the stock can squeeze, and you get off where if you want to break even, if you get your money back, or you're profitable, maybe it goes to the moon. We have to see what happens, but I think it's going to get exposed, and it's worth a shot. But you got to move on it. You can't wait because the time is now. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's
Kirk,
good answer.
whatever. Good guy, great intentions. His people around him are super smart. And I think that once you see what he has to do, I think you'll be, I think everyone will be happy.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you have to have a little fundamental news, and GTII needs it, and this is the guy who has it. A lot of people don't like to run into situations that are wacky and doing this, and John has. So I think I think we should stand with them. That's how I feel.
Okay.
You ready? You want me to move on?
Yeah, that's it. Kirk is.
I just want to touch on it. Let me talk about MMTLP. I'm hearing from everybody. Shit's going to hit the fan. I've spoken to some of the bigger players in that stock. I think there are attorney generals from different states that are going to go after the short sellers. I do believe there's a lot of shit happening. And I think the people in MMTLP will get their day in the sun. Right? It's important that we root for them because that only exposes the problem. And I think it's going to happen. So I just don't know what second, but you can't profit off of it. So that's why I don't talk about it. What am I going to say? So we're hearing from good people that the shit is hitting the fan. Everyone's hard work is paying off. So just, bear with it and keep on top of it. And if anyone ever hears anything good, please relay it back to us. I don't have concrete names and stuff like that. I try not to ask that. I don't want to upset the apple cart. But shit is hitting the fan on that one. And it will lead to everything else. I told you about DJT. DJT, I'm hearing from 4 or 5 sources now. People close to Devin Nunes, people close to this person, people close. Trump is going 100% going to go after them. Is he going to wait for the SEC until they confirm that guy to start making hay, or is he going to do it now? I don't know when he's going to do it, but it's coming. So no matter what happens, whatever stock you're in, go find your stock. I think your opportunity is getting, the opportunity is going to go away. Because when Trump speaks, stocks are just going to explode, and you need to have your bets down on whatever stock you want to play. Whether it's DJT, whatever you want to play, you have to make your decision on it. I think this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where you're going to have the SEC telling you which way stocks are going. And by forcing the shorts to buy them back, that's telling you the stocks are going up. The SEC will never tell you which way a stock is going to go. They always try to remain neutral, but this will expose them. So I think that shit is coming down, and I think it's coming fast with Trump. DJT, if you buy the dip, you always get those rips back up. The other day went to $32.50 from $30. They knocked it down on Friday, so there's your dip again. It keeps giving you that opportunity. So, if you're trading it, buy it, sell it, buy calls. You can do that all the time. There'll come a day where it's not going to work, but right now it works all the time. There's no guarantees in the stock market, so you got to learn how to do it and figure it out. And again, these are all my opinions. Williams, I guess, can speak for himself. But again, this is our opinions, and I don't need the SEC down my throat. I'm standing here pitching your stocks. I'm not pitching your stocks. I'm just going over information. Make your own decisions on it. I can't reach into your computer and make you buy anything. You have to do that. If you pay attention, we're recapping, I think, is very good information. and information that we all overlook. And trust me, there's a lot of information that I don't know that people bring back to me. And, that gets me back on track because a lot of stuff I forget. So we talked about DJT. Again, Trump has $4 billion worth of value in there. If he speaks, he'll have $10 billion worth of value. I don't think he's stupid. I think he's going to speak, and I think it's going to happen soon. So again, that's on that. So those are the three stocks right there that we covered. I'll move on to FingerMotion. FingerMotion's fundamentals are strong enough. Just what I see on the tape and what the CEO is saying to break out of this range. I believe the Roth Capital report, again, I can't get you the information on what second. We hear it's coming. My friends who work at Roth, they cannot get the information. That's a separate department, and they don't get to see it. They get to see it when we see it. But the CEO told you it's coming. Everyone knows it's coming. And Roth Capital's, target price is going to be way more than $1.50. They know everything about the emergency response applications. And I'm sure they can see how big it's going to be. And I think once the report comes out, we'll get a good feeling on things that we're missing that they will recap for us or tell us more about. The CEO had to tell them every gory detail when they were working with each other. So I'm sure that they know it all, and they've answered all their questions. And the report will be, I believe, will be strongly positive. I'll say their target price is somewhere between 8 and 12. That's my guess. And when the stock gets up there, that's when they raise their targets. Wall Street investment bankers or analysts always said that they pick a price. Let's say stock is 20. They'll say target 28. When it gets near 28, they raise their target to 35. That's the way that's the way the SEC likes them to do it. Even though you can come out and say stock's $1.50, you could come out and say the stock is $100 in your opinion. The brokerage firms get grief from the SEC, so they do it in stages. You understand that, William?
I understand it.
Say it again?
I understand it.
I want to make sure everyone gets it. That's how the analysts work.
If I get it, everyone gets it, because I'm the dumbest one here.
That's why I'm asking you. But so that, FingerMotion, we have the Roth report, you got Trump speaking, we got the special dividend. I can't imagine, I don't know how long it's going to take for the stupid audit when it's done. But the CEO told us it's coming. It was at the 10K the other day. They put it out again, reaffirming that they're doing it. The CEO has no choice. He can't go backwards. So that is on the way. So just bear with it. It's coming. At least we know the end is coming for these characters. If it's not Trump, it'll be Roth. If it's not Roth, it'll be the dividend. And if it's not the dividend, I believe the emergency response will carry this thing through the roof. I think it'll drive the revenue and drive into profitability. And William, we think that's the end of the month. Is the year end February?
Yeah, 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away is.
So we all think it's 100 days away, but it's right on top of us. So the end of the year is here, and I'm sure we'll get information about the new business they got going in, and with those funds, it should make it a lot easier to support this type of deal. Does everybody understand that?
I'm sure they do.
I just want to make sure everybody knows going into the week how you get ready for what you see going on. One of the gentlemen that I happen to meet, he's out here buying every day. He's been buying FingerMotion. We sat down, we discussed everything. And I think he understands what it's about, and he's decided to put some good money to work, and he's been adding every day. I have hedge funds that add every day. They buy 2,000 or 3,000 every day. And I know people say, why don't they just buy it in 1 minute? They just keep buying every day. And they get an average price. If it ticks down, they buy more. Listen, if you bought Apple every time it crashed, you made a fortune, right? All these stocks, they dip, they come right back. Tesla's had tremendous moves. It went from 200 to 450. They're knocking it down now again, but, you know, this stock has had tremendous moves. You know, on the sell-offs, they're ugly, but it turns and it goes back up. So I expect FingerMotion, again, my opinion, like Williams, the downside in this stock is up. We can't stop these criminals from manipulating it. We can't stop that. I do believe the game is up, the jig is up, as they would say, that this fraud is coming to an end. 37 years of this nonsense, it's over. And I think you're going to start seeing people go to jail. I think you're going to see Andrew Leff go to jail. I think you're going to see the guy from Hindenburg. They're all working with that Anson Fund. The Anson Fund has done deals with Jeff Easton and Savvy Management. They all work together. And I wouldn't doubt it that Jeff Easton and Anson Fund are tied to Capybara, who was the one that wrote the attack against FingerMotion. This is just how they work. It's the blueprint. That's the short and distort blueprint. And it's right there for you to see. And the Anson Fund, the one with the big toad on it, take a few minutes to read some of the information. It's right there how they do it. They get paid a percentage of the profits. They can get paid in cash. The Anson Fund has probably stolen billions of dollars, destroyed public companies, and those guys belong in jail. And I'm sure they're giving up others. One of the people that they talk about is Canaccord. Canaccord is a Canadian brokerage firm, notorious for being a front for naked shorts. Canaccord.
I didn't know that.
And it says,
Yeah.
oh, notorious. And I got to tell you a quick story about Canaccord. They started to hire some U.S. analysts.
Yeah.
One of the guys' names, I forgot his name. He was very good. They hired him away. And what I think they were doing is trying to put a little lipstick on the pig to try to make it look better, that it's a real firm, but it's really just a distribution point for naked shorts through Canada. That's what they really do. And I think the guy came from Unterberg. I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah.
He was an Irish guy.
Yeah.
He was an Irish guy. He was very good, but they brought in some good analysts. And I think they did that as a cover because all they did before was naked short. So, you know, that was the, you know, so I believe Canaccord, these guys are all going to get in trouble. They're already tied to the Anson Fund. So the Anson Fund out of Toronto. Toronto is the place that Philip Lavaliere is from. I'm sure that he's the connection to Jeff Easton and using Anson Fund and all the combinations together.
Yeah.
We'll see more of that. Those guys are going to give up everybody. We said that before, and you'll see it coming up. What's the next thing? Oh, let me go back onto the new one that I've been following. People, you have to stop yelling at me, telling me I'm talking about different things, because otherwise we would talk about the same thing every day. So, putzing around, I bumped into a stock a guy told us about. I bought MLSS. Some news came out. I paid $1.01. I sold it $1.30. And I started using some of the funds to do other things. From that, I bumped into GBUX. I got it from a broker telling me that his friend who works at Goldman's telling him that it's going to be a stock of 2025. I told you exactly what I did. I bought it at 75 cents. I bought some at 230. I bought some in the middle there. So I probably got 12,000 shares, probably $1.12 average, maybe, something like that. And I'm hearing 2025 is supposed to be a great year. And here it is. I start watching the shorts, and I started editing. As a favor, I got the real data from Tom Rock. I helped him out. He helped me out. He gave it to me for free. I got the information. I posted it. That report is a $30,000 data report. I got it for free because of my relationships. I know people look at it, they can tell, what is this? What is this? Get all the data so you understand. There's only 4 ways you can buy and sell a stock. You can buy a stock. You can sell a stock. You can sell a stock short, or you can naked short the stock. The market makers with the exemptions have to mark their tickets as a market maker exemption. Sometimes you see Goldman marking short sales as a long sale, but the market maker exemption, you have to mark that down. In the old days, for most people aren't here, we used to have a physical ticket. We had to mark it out. On a red ticket, we would have to sell short, or we're selling it long. All right, so there's 4 ways: buy, sell, borrow the shares, or naked short. Tom gets the information straight from the exchanges. He pays for it. And he basically gives us the information on all the naked short sales. Now, he doesn't give us the information if they bought it back. But you don't have to be too bright to see that these guys never buy back anything. So when I saw it was 1.2 million and the average price was $1, I posted it. I thought it was 500,000 shares at $1. It's really 1.2 million. And you look at the trading in the stock, and this is where I find it fascinating, is the stock is going up nice and orderly. And if you look at the trading in FingerMotion or DJT, whenever the stock goes up, the shorts come back and mark it down so fast all the time. This stock is moving up, and there's not even, they can't even hold it down. Friday, it was 265 to 270 or something like that. And it was there, I went out, had lunch, came back, and it was still the same price. And nothing even traded. They're not keeping the stock up there because they're our friends. The stock is up there because they're running out of juice. They're not allowed to sell anymore. Something is going on. So these guys look like they're ready for the scrap pile, as we'll call it. I believe the short sellers in a stock like this are 3 idiots sitting in a room. They probably got $2 million behind them. And the lowest guy in the totem pole found a stock that wasn't really trading and decided to start shorting it, and now has dug himself a hole, and now the 3 amigos got a problem. Because they don't have, this is not a deep pocket group of people. And now they have a serious problem. And that's what I see. I can see this thing gapping, opening up, and just going crazy. I think it's going to look like Root, R-O-O-T. Root had naked shorts in it. They killed the company. But since that point, the company has now came out with positive news. And the company is, the shorts have given up on it, William. And that's what my friend Rob said. When the shorts give up, that's when they start covering. Root has that look now where the shorts just buy every day and there's zero selling. And it goes up $5 a day on 200,000 shares, and it's $100, $112 stock. So that's what they look like when they fold, and the shorts are covering. The short is covering. I believe in a stock like GBUX or FingerMotion. The shorts are going to lose control, meaning the prime broker is going to be the one that buys them in. And I think that's going to happen shortly. So if Trump speaks, it's a winner. If the shorts get covered because they go and bust, it's a winner. But it just smells and looks like something's ready to break. So I just want you to be aware of it. And I think it's listen, I can't advise anyone to buy a stock that's running up. I can tell you to do is buy 100 shares so you can see how it trades. Paper trading is everyone likes to believe that trade. We were taught to paper trade to see how you do, so you get a good feeling about what you're doing. But I feel if you put a few dollars into it, 100 shares is $200, I guess. That you really pay attention to it, and you really understand it, and really observe it, and that's why I would say to do it, because then you get to follow it and really get the feel of how a stock trades. Think of it as a learning experience. You don't have to buy 100 shares; you can buy one share. I could care less. But these things are something. These are special situations, and I've been in this nonsense for 25 years, and it's real close to happening. Everybody in charge of the government now is on our side, and I do believe that the new SEC chairman is going to be told by Trump to smack him around, and all these little thugs are going to go to jail. And I think the small-time crooks are the first ones to go. Lynn Partners, I don't know who the short is in this GBUX. Well, I don't know the short DJT either. But I think the smaller players are going to get arrested. And I think you're going to start seeing that. It's all starting to tumble now with Hindenburg and left. In order to stay out of jail, left, and those guys got to give up people. So that's what's going to happen there. So I think there's great opportunities. Find your own. Go anywhere you like. I could care less. But it's showtime. The opportunity to get on these games is now. GameStop, I know nothing about. The CEO has sold so many shares. I don't know what to say about it. The investors keep trying that it's the greatest play in creation. It was the greatest play in creation. But those days have passed, and Wall Street doesn't give a shit about it. If you didn't sell, they look at you as a buffoon. And that's how Wall Street looks at these things. So, you got to grow up. Figure a way to get at it. If you're in that stock every time it spikes, you can sell some calls, William, right?
That's true.
And bring in income to lower your cost. If you own it at $50 and the stock runs to 32, sell the 35 calls and collect income. You do it a couple of months. Maybe you collect $8 and raise your cost from 32. You bring it up to 40. You're only down $10, and you just keep doing it. Figure a way to get out of it, to get your money out of it. Standing there being a cheerleader is just not going to work. I'm tired of people calling me up, roaring kid. He put a picture of this and that. I don't know what to say anymore. The guy's an idiot, but, I'm not going to tell you not to believe him. You do whatever you want to do. I could care less. I don't believe him. I worked on a trading desk with the best traders in the world. And the stuff that guy says is like, I think Lou is smarter than Burren Kitty. That bald-headed guy Lou passed away. And that's a hard one to get past. So him and him, the naked short selling busters, I don't see any, they never said anything. I think Lou may said more than Burren Kitty. I don't know. They're neck and neck to me. But figure it out. Your time is here. A lot of time has passed. Everyone on Twitter is talking about it. Please retweet whatever you like to do. Copy Donald Trump. Copy Devin Nunes. Tell them whatever you like to say. And William, I don't want to hear any bashes. Anyone who's sitting here cheering against people trying to people lose money, there's no way I would sit here and cheer against NVIDIA or Apple Computer unless I had a bet down and I was short. Why would I even waste my time? So for these guys to waste their time trying to punish investors on stocks that have been beaten up is a disgrace. Being paid by somebody to do it. Now, I don't give a shit they're being paid, but just understand what they're about. Would you sit there and bash a dollar stock every day? I wouldn't waste my time. I wouldn't even look at it. But these guys do. That tells me that there's a network of people that are working together, wasting their time, and they're not wasting their time for free. Okay? It's easy to get people to sell. Just yell fire. Getting people to buy is a different story. And that's why I always tell you, educate yourself. If you educate yourself, you'll understand it. Take the time. You're not guessing. The news on the tape is all right there. Williams put up a great bunch of videos with the CEO of FingerMotion that you can watch. And he tells you everything that's going on. It's right there. Pay attention to it. I know the stock isn't what everybody wants it to be. I don't want it to be here. But if I wait it out and the company does what it's supposed to do, I'll be rewarded. I just go back to The Big Short. What did he say in the movie? I know I'm early, but it'll pay off. Listen, I know I'm early. You know, I've been following this stock since 2019. It's 2025. It's had 3 runs. No complaints. It had 3 runs. But we're all looking for the final run or the final destination, like that crazy movie. These guys belong in jail. They should follow their sell tickets, their phone records to the benchmark. It's obviously they're tied to benchmark. The wires, obviously over the years, you know, what's that guy, John Hancock in Australia? Is that his name?
Yeah, that's his name.
He's up 220%. He's better than anyone on the street. He's up 220%. Every investment that Lynn puts money into goes straight down. Yet they're up 220%. I don't know how it's possible. The only way it's possible is that they're stealing and naked shorting. That's the only way it's possible. KNW, they added an N now, KNWN, went from 90 cents when they announced the deal down to 2 cents. Thanks to Lynn. The company didn't come out with bad news. It's just the money. These guys need, Lynn wants money, their money back. They gave him $4 million, so they got to sell all that stock. Imagine selling 10 million shares at 50 cents, right? Gets you 5 million, you buy it back at 2 cents, right? You make $5 million. You gave out 4, you made 5. Imagine if they sold 20 million shares at 50 cents. They make 10 million, spend 4, they made 6. That's their business model. They don't care what happens to the end of the company. Could care less. They're just giving you your own money. Any questions, William, on anything? Anyone?
Just, do you have a trigger price for GBUX?
No, I do not. I didn't get that. Well, I gave it to you. They're shorted $1. They're underwater already by $1.70. The short squeeze is in play already.
Ah, okay.
It was $1. I put up the data. It's on Twitter. And William, I'll use the line that my good friend who passed away said. He goes, data doesn't lie. People do, and the data's right there. Not lying about it. The report is right there. I'm not smart enough to make up that data. That's data straight from FINRA and all the exchanges that have to file the information. Tom gets it all. It's right there. He pays for it all. And then he compiles it into reports. And you guys got it for free. You're welcome. And it's right there. Now, I don't know who the short is. I hope people that bought it at $1 or $2, whatever they paid, I hope you sell it at $10, $20, and you make some nice, easy money. That's it. There's nothing more to say. Let the company do what they're supposed to do. William, I gave you the name of a guy to contact that hopefully you can hook up with him and get a conversation.
Yeah, I left a message for him.
I'm just saying, maybe you can get a conversation and we can get a feeling on exactly what they're doing. I don't know.
Yep.
I'm getting it from good people. Wall Street, from my background, you have to trust the people that you talk to. You have good relationships with people. And when they talk about something or get involved in something, I sort of get involved with them. MLSS, I jumped in, it went down and then it turned and went up. Good people I know buying it, and that's why I did it. And I jumped in 1,000 names in my lifetime without knowing anything about stocks, just based on what people were telling me, the people that told me. They did their legwork. They know where it's coming from. They know what's going on. Someone always knows something. All right, I can't research every stock for you. I can only tell you what I heard. So I don't know what their game plan is or what they're doing, but let's hope and let's see for the best. I haven't sold. I'm staying tight, and hopefully, with a little luck and a squeeze, and I'll see you at 10. Then it's a nice payday. It could go higher, it could go to the moon. I don't know. If I sell it, I'll tell you. Anything else, William?
The real
I'm just trying to recap as much as I can while I'm driving.
The real short data on fingers should come Tuesday, according to Frankie.
Okay, thank you. I can see. I forgot about that. It was 1.2 million, and I forgot to look for the data. So whoever gets it, if Frankie gets it, or anyone gets it, please post it on Tuesday. I completely forget. That's why I thank everybody for understanding how to follow. I hope I laid some groundwork for you how to follow this shit. But hopefully you won't be able to. You have to do it much longer, and the market will be more tradable. What else, William?
That's, there's random stuff, NWBO and other things, but that's mainly it.
NWBO, I know West Christian, and they talk about. I think they're in discovery. Those guys they'll pay Wes $50 million. I don't know what Wes gets out of that. Let's say he gets half. The company will get half, and then they'll bury what happens. That's the way they do it. They did it with Pat Byrne. They buried all the information with Goldman. He had to sign, bury it. Look at Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse is the fraud so bad they're hiding it for 50 years. Everyone on this phone will be dead before they tell you what happened in Credit Suisse. That's how bad that was.
So on Finger, how long do you think it will take to squeeze? There's 240 million shares. You think?
I think we're on the. The question is, you want to know when you think it's going to take off, or what's good?
How long will it go on?
Well, I don't think it's going to go on long. I think it's going to be a rocket ship. ROOT will go on. It'll go on for a long time because their shorts are in control of buying it back themselves. There may be one or two hedge funds that are short that stock, and they're out there trying to drive it up every day. You can just go look at it yourself. That's short covering. Every time it dips, you turn around, it goes down 4, and you turn around, it's up 12. That's a short squeeze. And the shorts are controlling it. I mean, they're covering, but they're the ones keep driving it up. The GameStop short was the short sellers lost control, and the prime brokers bought them in. And most of the players on Wall Street all knew about it. And that's why all the hedge funds were front running the short selling, the covering. There's no one in their right mind would go out and buy stock $250 after it just went up from $375 to $250. If you called me up and told me to buy it, I would tell you to take a walk. Right? Because no one, that's a tough thing to do. Hey, I just saw it at 4. Let me buy it at $250. That's $250. The people that were buying it at $250 knew a prime broker was buying them in, and they were leaking the information. And the SEC is a disgrace for never going after the prime broker who told everyone on the street. That was probably the biggest leak on the street. You know, it's so funny. People always say someone knows. You know, Ivan Boesky was my client. I didn't know what the news was with all these things, but you could see him buying stocks. And when he's buying stocks, you could say, well, this guy had 2 takeovers and he's buying this stock. Well, before anybody else finds out about it, why don't I buy it? I'll buy some calls. And that's how you can follow your client. I used to follow clients that were real short sellers, and I got wiped out all the time. And I was the axe, the biggest short seller in names. It was me, and I couldn't make money from it because the stocks kept going up. But the short seller that I had was a multi-billion-dollar fund, and he wanted to sell it as it went higher. He knew that eventually the product didn't work, and he was just going to keep shorting it. So I told you, we shorted it from $22 up to $122. Average price wound up being around 84. I think we bought it all back at 15 or 10. It took 2.5 years, but that's how much money they made. But it took a long time. In today's market, these guys don't wait. They short and distort and attack at a rapid pace. The game is very different. And you'll say, well, what's the difference from before to today? And that was the uptick rule. The uptick rule will stop the kamikaze attacks. Once they removed it, short sellers can just keep selling. They can sell it at 70, sell it at 60, sell it at 50. They don't, they borrow it and just blast it away or not borrow it. Very different game. Anything else, William?
No, it doesn't look like it. I think you covered everything.
I tried to do it as slow and steady for everybody. And again, I'll give you the chance. Any questions, before we move on? That's it. I'm rooting for Philadelphia today only because of Pete Philly, the Polish assassin. He lives in Philadelphia, and I like their cheesesteaks when I go down to Philly. Geno's, and I forgot the other stupid place. Other than that, it's a shithole.
Wow.
I got a quick story. I went down there. I bought a brand new BMW one time. I had to go to a meeting to see a money manager down in Philadelphia. And I went, the streets are real narrow. More narrow than a New York City street, New York City streets are one way. These streets are even more narrow, and the cars parked on both sides. You may have, 2 feet on both sides. I went down the wrong block. The cop chased me down the block, pulled me over, and said, "What the hell are you doing here?" I said, "I'm lost." He made me pull over. He says, "Follow me out of here and don't stop and never come back." That's it. So I was lucky I got out of that neighborhood. I don't like that town at all. But, hey, I'll root for them. When I used to go to Philly, I used to have to do some shitty things down there, and I used to sit in the parking lot of the football stadium because there's so many crazy people walking around while I waited 2 hours between meetings. I used to sit there because at least I can look around and see that there's no one around me for a mile. Because in that stadium, it's gigantic. So I used to go there and park. Anything else? I gave you that good story.
Yeah, that's a good story. No, there's no questions. I mean, nothing new anyway.
All right, everybody. I gave you my best shot to recap for Monday. Again, DJT, if it pulls back, if you're trading, buy the dip, sell the rip, buy some calls, and forget about it. Do it for free. When the calls go up, if you pay 50 cents for calls and they go to $1, sell half, and you buy 25, you sell 12, you got 13 for free. That's how you play the game. And sometimes they go, sometimes they don't. There's no options in that GBUX. So, like I said, owning one share just to see how it goes and see if we're crazy or not, it's a cheap way or an education about what you're doing,
Yeah. It's a nice target, 20 bucks.
And if you just look at it, a lot of people don't like to chase stocks. Again, I would never chase GameStop at 250 bucks. And look what happened, went to 500. So I'm not a chaser. I like to accumulate stocks that go sideways, that haven't had the big move yet. GBUX, we've been documenting it since I found it. Every day. It's not like, you don't have 10 years of data. We got the data for free. I posted it for you. Look at it. Look at it. William, I went to bar chart just to, again, I'm not a chart guy. And in barchart.com, you can hit it up and get the bar chart opinion on any stock. And I put it in for GBUX. And it's very, 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 very rare that every chart pattern, the 20-day, 30-day, 50-day, 100-day, 200, whatever the hell they have there, every pattern, it's 100% buy in GBUX. 100% buy. For example, DJT, I think is 24% buy. I think FingerMotion is 70% sell. That's because all it does is they manipulate it every day. But when they flip-flop, like I told you before, it's very hard to chart security fraud. As you can see, there's 3 different, versions of it. And to me, the GBUX looks like the short is busted. To be 100% buy every day, just go look at it yourself. I mean, to me, it looks like that. Could that be a little tip-off that it's ready to go? Maybe. But I try to look at as many little things as I can to try to get an opinion on it. And I just happened to look at that by accident. I can tell it's going to be good because it goes up every day. I had one friend trying to buy 25,000 shares. I think he bought 3,500. He bought it up to 275 the other day. And, it's not easy to buy. And, I don't know what he's going to do, if he's still chasing it or whatever he's doing. But, people find it interesting. He's a hedge fund, so he's got money to burn. I don't like to tell people who are risking very little. We don't have a lot of money, all of us put together. And I don't really like to put anybody at risk to losing a penny. That's just how I feel. So again, do your little homework, whatever you have to do, and be ready for work on Monday. You got the whole day. The game ain't till 6:30, I guess. And you got time before you sit down and go to a party or something. Take a look at it, do a little homework, and figure out what you're going to play. You may want to go play GameStop, AMC, or KOSS, or Kodak. Hey, Kodak's got 1 billion shares. It keeps popping over 8. I sold out a lot of my friends. We all had a lot of shares. We've been dumping them between 7.75 and 8. And it just seems to get to 8 all the time, and it just falters there. But we've been in it for 2 years. Some people have made money, some are breaking even. It's just the way it goes, depending on what your price paid. I have people that bought it below 6. One guy bought it down at 5.5, and he sold it at 7.75. That's a nice trade. You know, he's not playing NVIDIA. Listen, I'm not looking at NVIDIA, Tesla, because if I told anyone to look at those names and you bought it the wrong way, you'd get wiped out in minutes. How would you like to buy calls at $5, watch them go to 20 cents, and you say, I give up on it, and then option expiration, the stock explodes up 30 the other way, and you could have made more money. It's too difficult. Everything you do in that stock, every trade is, a heartbreak. So I try not to get involved in it. If I had FU money to throw around, of course you want to play that one, because you can make $1 to $10 in an hour in those names. Imagine buying 50 calls, you're up 10 points, you make a ton of money. But I try not to stay away. I'm not a riverboat gambler anymore. And I'm just looking for things that go sideways, steady, boring, take time. That's what I like to do now. So anyway, all right, I'll leave you at that. I'm getting close to my destination, and I hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Thank you.
You got it.
All right. Gerald, he said $20. I don't know. I don't know when. I don't know where he gets that from, but he says $20 to $25 on GBUX. I don't know. I don't have information separate from what Ham told you. He did tell me what he's hearing in terms of, big investors being involved, but I can't remember what it was, and it wasn't specific. Will Goldman Sachs front run the buy-in in GBUX? I don't know. But I think GBUX, it's either a positive or a negative. It has very little volume. So you can take that as a flip of a coin. Sometimes when there's low volume, they can sucker punch us, they get us to buy in and then they sell it off. On the other hand, I don't know. I don't know anything about GBUX. I do tend to listen to people's stories. They hear something and you do it. I don't own any though. Railtown has broken resistance at, I don't know, approximately 40 cents, but more importantly, the volume was strong. It seems like somebody knows something. I don't know. Is this the one where it breaks out? Maybe. And if it does, 60 cents is the next obvious target. And if it breaks through that, does it go to $1? Does it go to $1.50, $2? I don't know. But I think Railtown is in play. It seems to be. Lion likes GEVO. Railtown, the chart is ruined for the service I use because they printed a trade at a penny, so it scrunches everything up. But looking at bar charts or at the E-Trade chart, it has broken out at that 40-cent range, and the volume is strong. So anyway, all right, I think I'm going to let it go at that. I know you guys got to watch football tonight. I'm going to probably miss that pleasure. And yeah, sorry about I don't know what, got to figure out this sound system. The Verizon lights are on, so I don't know what happened. So anyway, all right. So peace to everybody. It is a nice day. You can hear the birds singing, and that makes me think of Jenny. If you can think of praying for her, Jenny left. Jenny L. Anyway, peace to everybody. Cheers.